Welcome to Teal Power Talks. Today, we would like to speak to you about a very important women's health issue, ovarian cancer. It is the fifth leading cause of cancer deaths among women. It is often referred to as a silent killer, as the symptoms are subtle and often go overlooked, leading to a late diagnosis. Beat ovarian cancer by knowing the symptoms, such as bloating, eating less or feeling full, abdominal or pelvic pain, trouble with urination, such as urgency or frequency. These symptoms can lead you to seek medical advice and hopefully get an early diagnosis. Today, I have a courageous group of young women who were diagnosed with ovarian cancer and want to share their story. Hopefully, their experience will help you, a friend, or a loved one know the signs and symptoms of this disease that ultimately affects 1 in 78 women.
Hi, I'm Therese. I was diagnosed with stage 1 ovarian cancer when I was 13, and I'm currently 17, so I'm a 4-year survivor. My story starts when I was in the 8th grade at my basketball practice, and all of a sudden when we were running drills, I felt really dizzy, lethargic, and bloated, and I didn't really know what was going on. And I thought it was the spicy chicken wings that I had for dinner because all of that bouncing around in my stomach probably wasn't the greatest idea. So I excused myself to go to the bathroom. And there I just could tell that I didn't really feel like myself. But I was like, maybe this is just a stomach issue. It was probably something that I ate, so I didn't really worry about it. But when I got picked up from basketball practice, I told my mom about it, and I told her that I was in pain, and she kind of took that a little bit more seriously than maybe a normal parent would, because I usually have a high pain tolerance. But she was like, it's probably just the chicken wings you ate, like, it'll be fine, just go home and do your homework and then you'll be fine. So I went home and I tried to do my homework, and I just couldn't sit down in a chair. Like, I physically could not sit down because my abdomen was in so much pain, and I couldn't figure out why, and I knew it was definitely something more than just the chicken wings. So I tried to sleep, but I couldn't sleep at all. I didn't get 1 wink of sleep. I couldn't find a comfortable position. I was tossing and turning all night. So finally, when I woke up, I was like, Mom, this isn't getting any better. So she's like, let's see your primary care physician first. So we drove to see my doctor, and she was like, yeah, it might be appendicitis. And so, just going with that, she was like, but just to make sure, you should probably just go to the emergency room, get checked out. It's better to be safe than sorry. And it wasn't, but they said that my ovary was, and that there was like a mass growing on it. But they explained that I had a mass on my left ovary, and that it was referring pain to my right pelvic area, and so that's why the pain was as bad as it was, because my ovary was actually twisting, and that's what was causing all of the pain. So they were like, oh, you can just have surgery, it'll be a quick fix, we'll just take it out. And they made it seem like it was very run-of-the-mill routine. They would take it out and I would go on living my life. But anyways, after that, I had routine appointments with my oncologist, and then I also had routine MRIs and blood work done. And then they prescribed me birth control just to get the hormones back in check, because they had removed 1 ovary and 1 fallopian tube just to make sure that they had clean margins. And actually, as they were taking it out, it started to rupture, which would have been very bad if it had ruptured inside of me, because all that foreign body, all of that, it's like pollen. If it gets anywhere, it'll just spread. So it was great that they got it out when they did, and it was the size of a youth football. And I don't play football, but I've been told that that's pretty big, and I can't believe that I didn't notice that that was inside of me. I probably noticed the bloating first when I was at practice, and then I assumed it was because I ate too much, because I felt really full. And then after that, I had severe abdominal pain, so I could never forget that. And now that I think of it, I did have urination and frequency problems, but I thought it was just because I had a lot of water at practice. This video is important to me because when I got diagnosed, I didn't know that kids as young as I was when I was 13 could actually get ovarian cancer. I thought it was just more for older ladies. So now that I know that, I want to encourage other people to think more about if they're actually having a problem and just listening to their bodies, because I think that was the #1 thing for me. Because if I had just put it off and just labeled it under like just growing up as a teenager and normal period cramps, I never would have been able to actually gotten the diagnosis early, and I think prevention is the key just for that. Well, when I got diagnosed, I thought that I was young, untouchable, and that nothing could ever harm me, and that I would never be one of those rare cases where a child gets cancer. But I was, so it taught me that you should cherish every day because you never know what will happen, even as cliche as it sounds. And I am a strong believer that everything happens for a reason. So I believe that I got ovarian cancer so that I could educate others about it in the hopes of just saving even one life. I want the viewers to know, first off, that they should listen to their bodies. If they feel like even something's just a little bit off, they should tell somebody because at the end of the day, they know their body best. And after that, to advocate for themselves and to never stop fighting when they feel something's wrong.
So my name is Hope, and I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, stage 3, when I was 18. When I was 18 years old, in the spring of my senior year of high school, I started having pretty bad abdominal pains and cramps, and I noticed that something was a little bit weird that I haven't experienced before. And I said something to my mom, and I went to my doctor, and she made an appointment for me to get an ultrasound to make sure that there was nothing there. And I went to get an ultrasound. I got a text back a few days later, and they said that they didn't see anything. So although that I knew that there was something there, the scan said that there wasn't. So I was getting to the point where I couldn't even get in my car to drive to school. I would have to pull over. I couldn't walk. I really couldn't stand up, and it was just excruciating pain for me to even move my body. And that's when I knew that this can't just be nothing. And it struck me that this is something that I need to get checked out because I know that this is not normal. And although my parents kind of thought I was just crazy and just didn't want to go to school, I convinced them that I just wanted to go to the ER and I wanted to get these scans because I didn't feel like myself and I couldn't do any type of daily activity. And this was not normal for me because I was a very active person. I played soccer, I played tennis, I loved to be outside active, and I didn't want to do any of these things. I was lethargic, I just didn't want to move, I wanted to lay in bed, I was crying every day, I couldn't, my stomach hurt so bad, my back hurt so bad. And anyway, we finally went to the ER and they did some scans and they said, we found an abscess. They said there is something there, you're not crazy, you were right. And that's when I knew, wow, like this is something that I decided that I need to look further into myself. And even though everyone told me, Hope, you're okay, and they didn't find anything the first time, I said I would like to get it checked out again because I feel that they missed something. And as soon as they told me there was that abscess, they assumed that it was just a draining thing, so they were just going to go in and drain it really quick, and it was going to be a 45-minute procedure. And I went in for that procedure, and I came out 12 hours later, and they told me, they said it wasn't just an abscess, it was malignant, and it was stage 3 ovarian cancer. And they said you're going to have to undergo chemotherapy, and they said you're going to be have to be inpatient in the hospital, and they said you're not going to be able to go to school in the fall. And at this time, I had just decided that I was going to be going to UK, and they said it's not going to be happening this year. And although all my friends were leaving for school that year, I wasn't going to get that opportunity to. And I was pretty sad about that. And but you know, there's not much you can do. I mean, unfortunately, I missed out on my senior prom, and I did get to walk at graduation, but I was in pretty bad pain, and I mean, it sucked. It was not a great time, and luckily I had a great support system with me. And when I woke up from the hospital, I had my entire family surrounding me, and I had my friends there, and I had my cousin was there, he was playing music. So I mean, I think that there's a bright side to everything, and I think that it made me feel better, knowing that everyone wasn't just sad about it, but it was more, we know Hope, she's going to get through this. She's strong and she can do it. And that's the kind of mindset that, I decided to have going through what I did. So my treatment was 2 weeks in and 1 week off. And I mean, it was difficult. It was a hard time. Chemo is not, it's not good. It's not fun. It makes you feel horrible. And luckily I didn't have as horrible of an experience with it as a lot of people do. But I do know that the hardest part for me was sitting in that bed for the entire summer, looking out that hospital window and just imagining all my friends that were on the outside, having the best time of their lives at college, starting their freshman year, and I wasn't experiencing that, and I didn't know if I ever would. And I think that that's something that really hit me the hardest, and especially not having them around once they left. It was, my family has been an amazing support system, but friends are important too, and I really didn't have that once they left. So I know a lot of people think this sounds insane, but the hardest part about what I went through for me personally was hair loss, losing my hair. And as crazy as it sounds sitting here right now, or as crazy as it sounds that I felt that way in the moment, hair is a big part of what makes you who you are. It makes you confident, and everyone, is unique in their own way. And I think that losing that for me was honestly something that I would never ever take back. Waking up in the morning just surrounded by my hair, and it's a traumatizing thing to go through. It really is. At the age of 18, and I'd look in the mirror and I'm like, I just don't feel like myself. And I really don't know where it came from, but I just remember one day waking up and looking in the mirror and just being like, this is who I am. This is, if no one else likes the way that I look, that's okay, because I do. Hair is not, it doesn't define who you are. It doesn't make you feel any different. It's just something that's on your body, and it has nothing to do with what's on the inside. I think something that was really important to me to make this video, and just something that I stuck with after I went through what I did, was you are your own health advocate, and I don't think that I could express that enough. And I think that it's so important that, if someone tells you, oh, that, you're fine, and you feel internally that there's something wrong and that you need to get it checked out, it is completely up to you. And I think that you are your own healthcare advocate. You decide what is best for you. You decide, know your body more than anyone else. And that is the most important concept that I have never ever forgotten, and I will always stick by, because if I would have spoke up sooner than I did, I wouldn't be in the situation that I was. And although I would never take back what I went through, because I've learned so much from it and I'm a completely different person, I know that I wouldn't have had to go through the traumatizing things that I did. It could have been a little bit better. It could have been substantially better. Just because if I were to have spoken up and said, I'm not crazy, there is something wrong, and I need someone to listen to me, and someone would have taken that time to, even a doctor, and I would have said, you know what, I want a second opinion, I would like another scan, things could have gone a different route. And I think another thing, I come from a very religious family, and I think that, at first it's like, you resent, I resented a lot religion, because I'm like, why me? Why am I being put through this horrible battle at such a young age, that when all I want to do is just be, outside with my friends, going to college, living a normal life. And it's like, now I look back at it and I'm like, you know what? I am stronger than I have ever been. I am more grateful, more thankful, more appreciative, closer with my family, and this has changed my life in a lot of ways, mostly for the positive, and it's definitely had a big impact on, the way I view things, the way I look, and I would say, I'm a lot more grateful standing here today for just being alive, and to realize that, you're gonna go through bumps in the road, and I just happened to hit a very big bump. But it really didn't set me back. It doesn't set me back today, and it made me, want to achieve more than I did previously, because life isn't promised, and there's a lot of stuff that I still want to do that I now have the motivation to do, because who knows if I'll be here tomorrow, if I'll be here 5 years from now. You just never know. And so there's so many ways that when I did go through what I did, that I knew that coming out of it, that I wanted to do some sort of video like this. I wanted to make an impact in some way that I could, to, even if it was just one person that I made feel better about the situation that they're in, or even if this does happen to them and they realize that they saw me and they realize, okay, like, she's been through it and she's still here, and it gives them hope for the future. And I wish that I would have had something like this that I could have seen when I was in the hospital, because it seemed so rare to me when I was sitting there in that bed. And I look back now and I'm like, you know what, this happens to a lot more people than you think, and I just happen to be one of those people.
Hi, my name is Taylor Harris. I'm 26 years old, and when I was 25, I was diagnosed with stage 3 ovarian cancer. I'm still currently on maintenance chemotherapy, but so far everything is looking clear. I wouldn't say I found my cancer in a normal way that most would. I had been suffering with cysts on my ovaries that were causing bloating and severe abdominal pain for about 1.5 years. We had tried surgeries and they weren't successful with a different surgeon. So I was sent out to Dr. Mren, who now became my doctor, not even for cancer yet, we hadn't known, but we decided to put me into medically induced menopause to try and slow down the cyst and stop with the pain in my pelvis. We noticed that the pain wasn't really going away, and neither were the cysts, so she decided it was going to be best for us to go in and do surgery. And upon surgery, when she looked in my abdomen, immediately she saw a mass and decided to send it off for pathology, and it came back as ovarian cancer. So when I woke up, she informed me that it was medically necessary for me to go under a total hysterectomy, which means my ovaries, my tubes, my uterus, and my cervix was removed, and that it was indeed ovarian cancer. Not only that, I can no longer have children anymore at the age of 25, that I somehow have cancer, even though going before this, it didn't seem like anything was wrong. I seemed perfectly healthy, and just the fear of the unknown that was coming with the fact that she was telling me I was going to have another surgery to place a port so I could get my chemotherapy through it, and then also to start 6 rounds of chemotherapy. I feel like the other hardest thing for me was losing my hair. Looking back, I mean, it's only been about 6 months and I already have this much hair, so it's coming back, but it was hard. It was very hard. I had long, beautiful hair. I've been growing it out for so long, and if there's anything that I want you to take away from this video today, it's to listen to your body and be able to advocate for yourself. That's what's most important to me. I was 25 years old. I was a single mom. I had no medical history, even in my family, of cancer. And here I am today, 26 years old, fighting stage 3 ovarian cancer. I would say that my main symptoms were severe abdominal pain and bloating. I, for months at a time, would be so bloated or in so much pain that I would sleep on a heating pad all night. or take ibuprofen every single day just to get through the day. And I would say that my recovery was about 3 weeks, give or take. My incision is from the very top of my abdomen all the way down to the bottom. So it takes time for all that to heal and for you to get back to being able to do normal activities, even lifting something as easy as a box. Each one of my chemos were separated 3 weeks apart, and I had a total of 6 of them, so I was in chemo for about 5.5 months. I think that I want the viewers to know that it's okay to be straightforward with your own health and to be your own advocate. If you feel like something is wrong, like you just have this gut feeling to keep pushing, to, you know yourself. You know if something isn't sitting right or something just doesn't feel right with yourself. And even if you aren't getting those exact right answers and people are saying, oh no, everything looks great, everything looks fine, push for further testing, push for blood tests, maybe even a CT scan, just to better get those right answers and say, okay, yes, everything is fine. And also have a doctor that supports you and you feel comfortable with, like, having those conversations with. I think that's very important. If me here today telling my story even helps one woman from being in my shoes, then it'll make me going through this entire situation worth it.
These young women have shared remarkable stories that remind us that ovarian cancer can be diagnosed at different stages and ages. Unfortunately, over 200,000 women are currently fighting this disease. Beat ovarian cancer by knowing the symptoms: bloating, eating less or feeling full quickly, abdominal or pelvic pain, trouble with urination such as urgency or frequency. Also, know your cancer family history. Don't be afraid to be your own advocate and just speak up when something doesn't feel right. We are arming you with the knowledge of ovarian cancer to promote early detection. You can carry this with you for the rest of your life. Teal is the color of ovarian cancer. Knowledge is power. We call it Teal Power.